how did Helen Gurley Brown and all the other feminists sell this feminist message to young women? Well, they had to tell women that they were oppressed, and feminism was the answer. Well, how were young women oppressed? They were oppressed sexually. You are sexually oppressed and you need to be liberated from that. How did she prove that? She took the writings of Alfred Kinsey. Have you ever heard this name before? Alfred Kinsey. Think of all these people that I'm telling you here, all these people and their ideas as ingredients in a toxic, poisonous concoction that we've all been forced to drink over the decades, right? And a little bit of this, a little bit of Helen Gurley Brown, a little bit of Alfred Kinsey, put it all together. And this is what we have. So Alfred Kinsey was a sexologist at the University of Indiana. They still have the Kinsey Institute at the University of Indiana today. This is in the 40s and 50s. And he first wrote this book, Sexual Behavior in the Human Male. That was 1948. Then he wrote The Sexual Behavior in the Human Female, 1953. And he concluded that modern man and women no longer had to resist their animal instincts. Don't worry about sexual taboos anymore. Do whatever you want. Don't hold back. Your instincts, your sexual instincts inside of you, whatever they are good. And you should use them, do them, and act on them. And he was a scientist. So he came up with all this data. And because of the data, he concluded that all sexual desires, from homosexuality to pedophilia to bestiality, was all normal and doesn't hurt anyone. Therefore, Americans should act on all of their sexual impulses without any guilt, without any inhibitions at all. And it was science. It was science. Now, in reality, the data, the surveys that he did on normal people he actually surveyed imprisoned sex offenders and several hundred male prostitutes to get their views and perspectives on sex and sexual desires. And the married women who he spoke to in his surveys, his definition of a married woman was any woman who lived with a man for more than a year. But that's not married. So it's a scam. He's a scam artist, right? But his conclusion was that women are sexual animals, and your entire personhood is defined by your sexual desires. That is what defines you. And you as a human animal should not resist those urges. So what did people do? Hugh Hefner took this idea, ran with it for men with Playboy magazine, and at the exact same time, literally the exact same time, Helen Gurley Brown took it for women in Cosmopolitan magazine, selling the same message to men and women, in Cosmo's cases, women, selling the same message to young, insecure women that this is your path to full self-fulfillment and freedom and liberation. You're repressed sexually. Be liberated. People ate it up to their demise and to our countries as well. Look at the numbers today: divorce, out of wedlock birth, right? Women living their lives in cubicles and realizing when they're 40 that it's too late to have any kids. Sexual revolution lies have been destroying women who have tried to find happiness in one-night stands and getting blackout drunk and have ended this era of their life miserable and alone. It's bad news. And we still see it today. New York Times just recently wrote a story by the former sex and love advice columnist for Teen Vogue. How about even the concept that there is a sex columnist for Teen Vogue, right? She's 38, she looks 58, and she wrote an article in the New York Times, "I still believe in the power of sexual freedom." And the whole article is about how her life is miserable, but she still believes in the power of sexual freedom. And she can't figure out why she's miserable. And she wrote about her ex-husband. She said, "We experimented with non-monogamy. And my partner, her husband, her ex-husband, did more laundry than I did." Oh, empowered woman. And she goes on, talks about all these other things. And she says, "How had I, a supposedly empowered feminist, wound up here?" Gee, I don't know. Maybe you wound up here because you are an empowered feminist. Hey, Slater Crusaders. So our latest special is about why feminism is bad. So my mom is a feminist, and years ago she asked me why I think feminism is bad, and I couldn't give her a good, proper, sufficient answer. Now I can, and that's what this special is about. How has feminism been bad, especially for girls, especially for women, but our whole country as well? It's available right now on thefirsttv.com, and you can download the app for free in the App Store as well, thefirsttv.com.
you.